Okay, so I'm to read the pic. So let's hear, where are we up to? Okay, so this chat here. All right, so on the 18th of July. All right, so Jody says, "Hey ladies, just checking if I'm working or not tomorrow. Happy with whatever, just didn't want to drive into town for nothing, thanks. Also, just checking if our group certificates have been done." All right, Danny says, "Hi Jody. What time do you normally start? As this isn't a call for the committee to make, this is a call on the canteen manager to make based on busyness, and as per confirmation, if 40 orders and or above have been or will be received, apologies, the committee cannot comment on this." My goodness. And then she says, "Group certificates, I will look into it. It's populated via the automated payroll system, though we are doing things manually, so I will need to get back to you on this one. Thank you." All right. So Jody lived out of town, so she wanted to make sure she didn't come in for work if Denny wasn't going to pay her. But not just that, Jody also wanted to know if their group certificates had been done. It's been 5 months and no one's received one yet. As you can see in the chat, No or No Nothing Denny tries to tell Jody that it wasn't the P&C's call on if she was to work. Yes it is. We are her bosses. We pay them to work. Dumb, stupid asshole. Alright, the group certificates. Well, Denny never bothered until legal teams got involved. That was roughly 9-10 months being end of year, which interfered with everyone's tax returns. Our employees were fined by the taxation office because of what Denny did. As per the ATO website, employees have until the 14th of July to finalise their data. They will let you know if there is any delay in finalisation of your income statement, as it generally populated an automated payroll system being QuickBooks. That is what the P&C was paying for every month. So Top Secret Denny still does not mention to anyone of the problems with QuickBooks. Denny claims she was still working on them 2 weeks after the deadline had passed. At this stage, nobody had an idea how bad the situation was and what Top Secret Denny was actually hiding from the P&C committee. Jody decides she's had enough and she resigns. All right, Denny's chat to the executive was, oh my goodness, okay, so here we go with this one. All right, so let's go to the image. Here's one for you guys. Here comes Denny's true secrets. Let's blow this up so you can see it good. Denny's chat to the executives was, 1 down and 1 to go. Woohoo! I'm predicting now that Jody has resigned today. Tracy will be tomorrow. Now, this picture here is a penguin. This penguin here was walking along. This penguin here slaps it down, so it slams face down into the snow. Here she is. I'm predicting now that Jody has resigned today. Tracy will be tomorrow. Now, Shazma had no idea, of course. Has Jody resigned? I said, yes, I'll send you the email. All right, so the next day, on the 19th of July, 2 days before Tracy is served, Denny comes to the executive chat with accusations that she found clause to hold Tracy's pay. Oh, here we go. Here comes the fun, right? Now, as you can see, 19th of July, she says, something has come to a light that there has been products ordered through our suppliers which do not line up with our canteen menu and or special days. I'm afraid that I have put it out there that I believe our suppliers have been used for personal shopping. In my view, we are to withhold Denny's pay. Here we go. Look, guys. Withhold Tracy's pay. Did I say Denny? Sorry. If only we could with that one, right? Withhold Tracy's pay in until we have an explanation as to why there was personal purchases under the school made. There was no personal purchases made. Loopy bloody cow. Gabby says we cannot hold her pay. And she's right. We could not hold her bloody pay. Alright, where am I up to on here? So, nothing Denny put up was showing any indication that Tracy was ordering anything other than what was required. Alright, okay, so, alright, Tracy got served. Weekend passed. Bring on Monday. Alright, so as you can see, this was said on the 19th of July. Tracy was served on the 21st. Alright. So, Denny spoke with me a lot in chats outside the executive window. Mostly about her kids, spoke a lot about her ex-husband and wanted me to spy on him on days that he was picking up the kids from school. Wanted me to complain and report him when parking on school grounds to get him fined. I stayed out of it, but it was never ending with her, not being satisfied, in my opinion, if someone was doing better than her. Alright, so this chat, let me go to this picture here. So skip to that one, this one here. This chat, also on the 19th of July. It says, after Tracy was, this chat was after Tracy was fired. Hang on, it can't be because it says 19th of July. Oh, no, sorry, this was continuing with that beforehand. Okay, so this was a real big concern as why I'm suggesting withholding Tracy's pay. This is not on given the state that the canteen is at the moment, and more to having raised the concerns with the financial status of the canteen with the canteen and it being ignored. She says, I'll screenshot and I'll send them through. I don't believe it's valid. This is why Denny wanted to hold her pay, right? Let's have a look at this screenshot. Denny says, there's spinach and feta rolls. I don't see them on the menu. Can someone please explain this purchase? Tracy says, oops, my bad. I asked for vegetarian rolls. That must have been all they had. She says, so have we received these or have they been returned to the supplier? You know, the food that gets sent to them by mistake is not Tracy's fault. You know, they send replacement food. If Tracy can't use it, they stay in the freezer. That is why Denny's finding food in there that's not being touched. It's not Tracy's bloody fault. Gee. Alright, so anyway, now I can go back to the chat that was after Tracy was fired. Okay, so let me just skip to that next one now. Alright, so this is, I don't think this part was there, but right here, let me just blow this up here so you can see. It says, let me reading one here. Yeah, so everything was all fun and games, and as you can see, Denny says, I think my work is done with Tracy. Now, who's next? Who do you guys want me to destroy next? All right, this type of person she was back then and believes still is to this day, as she still causes problems for us and everyone else around her. We see it. We hear it. She does it. And when does it end with her? So narcissist people don't ever stop. It's really, really quite sad, really. So on the 25th of July, 4 days after Tracy was served, Denny doesn't stop with her attacks. All right, so Denny says, all right, let's skip to the next one. She says, let me go up here a bit here. She says, keep in mind, I'm withholding her pay until we receive the goods. Meaning all the stuff that was, you know, that belonged to the canteen that Tracy still had with her. Wasn't a lot, but you know, after 12, okay, let me just read on here. It says, with over 12 years in the canteen, Tracy had a lot of things to sort and gather in return back to the school. 4 days isn't months, but Denny requested things to be done right here and right now. As you can see in the chat, Denny says, once the front office has received all the canteen property, we will ensure you pay will be processed immediately. All right, let me just go to there. So Denny's, she's, hi Denny, could you please let me know when you will be processing funds? She wants her money when she was sacked. So Denny says, good morning. Can you advise when the property of the canteen will be returned as per your advice? They were meant to be returned yesterday, the Monday the 24th. Yeah, she had the weekend to do it, but she was still recovering, right? Once the front office has received all this canteen property, we will ensure you pay will be processed immediately. All right, now keep that in mind. Pay will be released immediately. All right, so now Tracy, let's go to the next one. The principal says, Tracy has returned all things. So it's the 26th. As you see at the top, the 26th, Tracy returns everything the next day as requested by Denny. The school principal informs us in chat. I went to the office to pick everything up and I posted a pic in chat showing it was here so Denny could release Tracy's pay as promised. All right, here's Denny just being nosy, wanted to know what it was. There's all the stuff she returned, right? Everything. So the laptops, the tea towels, whatever was in that bag, all canteen stuff returned. All right, now, what's that number? 43 pick. Okay. So Tracy again, after keeping her end of the deal, sends a message asking about her final payment. All right, blow this up again. So that was her asking about it. Denny's saying, I promise to give it to you immediately as soon as stuff is there. Now, Denny, she says, could you please give me an update on the finalisation of my payslip, long service leave, etc.? You know, she did her end. Denny responds with, can you please give us an update on the refund of payment to your account? We are in the middle of working through entitlements. All right. Now, that there was a big total lie. Denny was not in the middle of working out entitlements. She was in the middle of trying to work out how to get out of paying anything at all to Tracy, mainly her long service leave. As for requesting a payment from Tracy, let me tell you why. So on the 31st of July, let me skip to that one, which is the next picture right here. 31st July, Denny says, fuck my life, I don't know how this happened, but Tracy got Kayla's payment somehow, even though that was selected as Kayla's bank account. I said I'll send Tracy a message to refund. I said, damn, how do I word that? So I messaged Tracy. I sent a message to Tracy asking, saying that it was supplier's money as Denny requested, right? So she says, just tell her that the payment of $653 was not meant to be paid to her and it was to go to a supplier. And she has 24 hours to transfer it back or some shit. I legit have no idea how this happened. I said, it's all good. Hopefully she'll be good and give it back. I'll send you, anyway, my comment's not important at the moment. Okay. So I ended up having a chat with Gabby about this. So on the start of September about Denny. So this is how far, about a month later, everything was up in the air. Things were getting heated. I was getting upset, like the usual things. There's the rest of the comment on that. I said, don't be too hard on yourself. Shit happens. Anyway, I was having a chat with Gabby. Now, I said to Gabby, so let's read these and I'll fill you in as we go along. Anyway, Gabby had left her VP position, her vice principal president position, um, a little bit earlier, just for her own personal reasons. So that vacancy was open. So in the end, there was only a couple of us left. All right. So it says here. So Tracy hasn't been paid her long service leave. I said nope. Denny refuses to pay. Says that she can get fucked. She says, okay, she can't do that. And I said, that's what we keep saying to her. She says, raise it as an item in the next meeting so Denny has to explain herself in the committee. She doesn't have the authority to make that call. I said, she said something about getting Kalina involved as fraud was made. Oh, here's part of the fraud I screenshotted. And Gabby says, and before the next meeting, call Lorraine and get the numbers for the lawyers. Call the lawyers and get the information you need from them about it. All right. Now, Kalina was someone that used to work for the Treasurer's area in the previous years and helped out with Denny when Denny screwed up. She also helped get things back on track after Denny screwed up. I think that's what I was supposed to say. Screwed everyone up. Lorraine was the Federation area that was to give association guidance when they were unsure of things. So she was part of the Federation that you would ring if something was going wrong in your area. Okay, so the fraud Denny was accusing Tracy of was the personal shopping. Sad, I know, laughable too. But that was what the fraud was. Okay, next picture. Let's continue Gabby's. She said, Denny also cannot continue to be both president and treasurer. She is technically acting treasurer. So I suggest you put a call out for one on Facebook with a vote to happen at next meeting. I was surprised there wasn't one yesterday. I said the same with the group certificates. She won't do them for Tracy or Jody either. She says, geez. She says, I'd be calling the Federation lawyers. I said, I was going to last night. And she said, no, not until Kalina was done with the accounts. She said, do it anyway. I said, she's a tight ass. Oh, we're talking about Denny still. I said, Kayla needs to shop. Denny puts $300 on the Coles card only for the month. For the month. All right, so we don't understand why Denny took the treasurer's position when all she did was cause nothing but problems with everyone in the end. Absolutely everyone. Okay, let's go to the next one. What is this one? We're still talking with Gabby. She said, this pic is showing... Oh, I wrote, this pic is showing Denny telling me that she was never paying Joe. Oh, no. Hang on. That's the next part. So I've just jumped ahead of myself. So this next part of Gabby's, before I go to the next part that I was just about to talk about, she says there does need to be more communication with the wider community. Committee. When Denny refuses to disclose what she did with Kayla's pay being given to Tracy, that was kind of it for me. Also, not submitting the ACNC statement, that was her job. I said Tracy still hasn't returned it yet. Tracy still hasn't returned it yet. So that was another fight Denny was using on Tracy. I said, oh, I'm hearing you. She says that was the money. So Tracy hadn't returned the money yet. Kayla, so Gabby said, was Kayla paid? I said, yeah, she was paid. In the end, we told her that she had to, whether Tracy returned it or not. But we told her to just take it out of her long service leave. Gabby said, yeah, that's what I said, and got told no. I said, well, damn, she ain't got no choice. She's not going to return it, so what choice, do they have, really? All right, now I can go to the next picture. Let me just make sure it's the right one. Yes, it is. All right. So this was a picture, this was an email I gave to Denny. So it says, "Hey, my dear, Jody sent me this to give to you." All right, so an email sent from Jody. All right, so she says, "Hi, P&C, just wondering when my pay will be processed for the week ending 21st of July. Thanks, Jody." I said, this pic is showing Denny telling me that she was never going to pay Jody for her work, or well, for her week of work anyway. I was to ignore both Tracy and Jody while Denny worked out how to get out of paying these two ladies their entitlements. All right, hang on. Here we go. There it is. That's what she said in her comment back. That was when she was going to pay. Hang on, did we get a close-up on that? Fucking never. That was when she was going to pay it. All right, next one here. All of this here, but, you know, this was me looking into entitlements because Denny asked how to get out of it. Don't worry about my comment up here. I was talking about something. I said I'm tired. I'd be sending you useless shit. I said, but is she still entitled if she's sacked? Because we're trying to work out. She's got us hounding all her contracts and everything that she signed when she started working in the canteen to find loopholes so that she could get out of paying $6,000. As you can see at the bottom of this comment. Hang on, let me just blow it up so it's loud and clear for you guys. Goes, okay, we need to look into this big time. I'm not forking out $6K plus for her, right? So here's Denny getting both me and Ian to go through paperwork possible to stop Tracy's long service payment. At this stage, nobody had an idea just how bad the situation was and what top secret Denny was actually hiding from the P&C committee. As this podcast continues, you will get an understanding of what went on behind everyone's back, but I am guessing no one will ever know the full story of what she did and how she and her new little minions, after kicking us out, came to almost destroying the P&C committee and the school's good reputation. Now let's talk and meet about our new 10-face canteen manager, Kayla. All right, this woman here, if you want to call her that. But in the next podcast, hear how she came in and helped destroy people. This was the canteen picture. I have blocked out Tracy and Jody and another volunteer. So this was us. This is our canteen. This is when we were helping out and getting things sorted. All right, I say this is the end of part 4. Our next one is, as you can see, about Kayla, because we are finally officially up to her. So thanks for listening. I'll be back soon.